It would be great if we could actually walk through and you could show us some stuff. I don't know,
Sure.
before we do that, if there's anything that you'd actually like to say about the garden here? Or?
Well, so this garden is interesting because it's got different sections. I'll show you a little more in detail, but we've got a more fruit-oriented section here. Then there's the community beds that are pretty important, and then there's the beds where some students have made their own plots, and other beds that we've grown things and that we're using as kind of learning tools for the children when they come back to school. And there's a big flower section that's kind of the entrance to the garden that's made to attract not only people but also, of course, pollinators to come in and pollinate the beds. So I can maybe give you a little tour more specifically. So around here, the first portion of the garden was really where we envisioned the student plots. So students were set up into teams and they got to decide what they wanted to grow in their own plots. We have the bacon team, the ice cream team, we have garden land over there. So there's about 4 student plots. We did a kind of a growing section of really kind of a trellis with pole beans. We have growing beans like that, bush beans, to get the students to really see how it can be interesting when beans really crawl up. And we're hoping to make a bit of a tunnel section so that they can go under. Over there we've planted new things more recently, and some of them have been working and others not so much, so it's interesting to see what's growing well and what's kind of struggling a little more. We've been having issues with some squirrels, with other bugs that have been eating some of our crops, but it's doing pretty well actually. Closer to here we have some zucchinis that are growing. We have a companion bed that in the end didn't work super well because our corn didn't grow, but we have one squash that's a trooper and that is growing, so we're pretty happy about that. We have another companion bed that's a mix of tomato, basil, some marigold, and that's our classic companions. If we move more this way, over here are the 3 community beds. So they've been doing really wonderful work on Saturday mornings. Their stuff is growing well and we kind of keep up with it. We maintain it a little and they keep an eye also on the garden when they come over the weekend. So it's a nice relationship of seeing how their things are growing. Here we have our 3 beds that are mostly berries. So we have ground cherries, strawberries, and blueberries. And also over there are more fruit trees. So this is really the fruity section of the garden with apple trees. We have our raspberries that have been wonderful this summer, always so many raspberries, and some fruit bushes over there. We also have our arbor over there that has a lot of flowers all around it, and we're hoping that's also helping to pollinate the garden. And then we have a few more beds over there with some Swiss chard, we have carrots, beets, a lot of sunflowers kind of all over the garden to make it look nice. And we have an experimental bed right at the end that we've tried fertilizing some sections and not fertilizing others. We're really comparing how plants will grow if we give them a very different type of care, and so that's kind of more experimental. Over there at the front of the garden, I don't know if you want us to, yeah? We did a brassica bunch, so kind of a pun on the Brady Bunch, but just all brassicas in this bed. We thought that was pretty clever. And then over here at the front of the garden, we have 2 herb beds. So we have one that's more cooking herbs. We have sage, oregano, chives, basil, all kinds of things. And then we have medicinal herbs on this side, which has echinacea, we have lavender, all kinds of more medicinal oriented herbs to make that interesting for kids to not just be growing vegetables, but also kind of a variety of herbs that they can learn about. And then we have our flowers all over here that are creating a nice little entrance to the garden. So that's pretty much it.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.